Hello and welcome to Learn Danish Now 365. My name is the Nordic Educator. I will guide you through the Danish language, step by step, calmly and clearly. Let's begin with some common Danish verbs. At gavne, to benefit, to be good for. At gemme, to hide, to save a file. At generere, to generate, to produce. At genkende, to recognize. At genskrive, to rewrite. At gentage, to repeat. At gerne ville, expression, would like to. At gestikulere, to gesture. At give, to give. At glemme, to forget. At glide, to slide, to slip. At glæde sig, to be happy, to look forward. At gnide, to rub. At gøre, to do, to make. At grine, to laugh. At græde, to cry. At gribe, to grab, to catch. At gro, to grow. At grunde, to base, to found. At grunde på, to meditate on, to reflect on. At gælde, to apply, to be valid. At gætte, to guess. At gå, to go, to walk. At gå i stykker, to break, become damaged. At gå op, to go up, to rise. At gå ud, to go out. At gå tilbage, to go back. At gå i stå, to stop, to stall. At gå glip af, to miss out on. At gæste, to visit, to be a guest. At godkende, to approve, to authorize. At granske, to examine, to scrutinize. At grænse, verb form at grænse til, to border, to adjoin. At grunde, to reason, to establish. At gyde, to spawn fish. At gyse, to shudder, to tremble from fear. At gæsteoptræde, to guest perform, to appear as a guest. At gøre rent, to clean. At gøre ondt, to hurt, to cause pain. At gøre sig umage, to make an effort. At gøre nar ad, to mock, to make fun of. At gøre klar, to prepare, to get ready. At give up, to give up. At give tilbage, to give back, to return. At give slip, to let go. At gå videre, to continue, to move on. At gå galt, to go wrong. At gå ind for, to support, to stand for. At gå ned, to go down, To decrease. Learning Danish is not about perfection. It's about practice, patience, and progress. Keep listening. Keep repeating. You're building not just words, but confidence. Thank you for learning with Learn Danish Now 365. Let's continue this journey, one word at a time.